Hey guys, my name's Jesse from WildTop Truck Caps. Today we're going to be installing one of our WildTop truck caps on a Jeep Gladiator. We're going to show you a few tips and tricks on how to install it properly and also some of the features and benefits of the product that could save you time. All right guys, so we're going to do our unboxing. Firstly, start off with your instructions. I've printed mine, but they're digital, so you can use an iPad or your phone, whatever's easier for you. So, tools required. We're going to need a drill. We're going to need a 3mm drill bit, a 13mm wrench, and two 17mm wrenches. You're going to need a 5-6mm Allen key or hex key, a marker, a tape measure, which we may use, and a Phillips head bit. Okay, everyone, so we've unpacked everything from the box and I've laid it all out on the table. So I want to just run through what each component is before we do the install so you guys know what's what. They're all the same color, so it could be a bit tricky. So I'm going to run you through it all. So first up is our corner pieces. These are high pressure casted aluminium corners. So these will be the corners of the frame. There's four of them. Next, we've got our four brackets. So that's these with the foam tape at the bottom. So there's four of them. They're all left and right-handed. So you'll have to make a note of that when you're actually putting it together, but I'll show you that later. So those go on the bottom. These are the inner bracings that go on the bottom as well. So they go on the other side of those brackets. Moving up, our top bracings are here. These are our top bracings. So these are all 3mm stainless steel powder coated. Also got a bag of bolts and the kit, which we'll go through later. So these are our supports. They go into the bottom brackets like that. They've got Velcro on them, and they've got a ring, a D-ring here. Then if you've got the Jeep trail rail system, you've got four of these brackets which go onto the inside and connect the whole frame to the trail rail system. Okay, well, these bad boys, which have the nutserts in them, these rails sit on top of the Gladiator like that. There's two of those. All right, these rods, there's three of these rods. They are holding down the actual caps, the canvas on the cap at the bottom. So they go into a sleeve like that. So there's three of them because there's three sides that need to be held down. Now moving up. So now we're at the top of the frame running this way. We've got our long piece of aluminium. You can tell it's for the top frame because it's got these press studs here. The press studs are used to hang our straps when we roll upside. So those are for the top frame. And these shorter pieces, which have the press studs on them, that is for going widthways of the car like this. So two of the shorter pieces and two of the longer pieces. Longer pieces like that, shorter pieces like that. All right, moving up now to our roof line. So we've got three bows, which have a bend in them, and they've got end caps like this. This is our part of our roof. These keep the cap tight and allow the rain and water to run off. And last but not least, these are our ladder racks. So the ladder racks go on the top. They go on the outside of the vehicle. There's two of them with space and switcher here. And these are identified by end caps. So they've got end caps on them and drill holes like that with none of the nut certs in them. So these are the ladder racks. All right, guys. So we're on to building the frame. So this is step one. I'll be following along basically the same order as the instructions. So if you're following at home, you can just sort of pause the video at points and compare and refer to the instructions as required. So the concept of step one is essentially you're building the two parts of the frame, the front and the back. When I say the front, I'm talking about the part of the car closest to the passengers. And when I say the rear or the back, I'm talking about the end of the bed closest to the rear of the car. All right, so let's build the part of the frame at the back now. Very, very important, first off, is there's two pieces that go from left to right, the two width pieces. They look like that, but only one of them has press studs, and they go at the rear, okay? So make sure this piece goes at the rear with these press studs here. All right, so we'll use our cast corners and we'll put them into the rear like this. Just make sure though they're orientated that way so you can see the oval inside and it looks like that. The other way you could orientate it is this way. So that still goes in, but that's not going to work later. So just make sure it does not look like that. That's wrong. Okay, so this is the right thing, like this. All right, that's what we want to do. So the next thing we want to do is put the leg on. Now, another really important thing to note, and the instructions show it in blue, is the direction of the Velcro. Okay, so in the instructions, the Velcro is this, it's this direction. So it's facing the rear of the car. So that's basically correct now, like that. And so the Velcro is facing me, so on this side. So the opposite way to the press studs here. Now, another really important thing is these two leg pieces. I'm just going to show you. So we have two for the back. They're cut with a miter cut in a certain way. Make sure the pointy end of the miter cut faces outwards at all times. Okay, so like this. They should not be facing inwards. That's wrong. So if they are facing inwards, turn them around the other way. Okay? These are left and right hand as well. So this is our left side and this is our right hand side piece. They will not go like that. Now, you know the rear legs by the long pieces of Velcro. The fronts have shorter pieces. So these go for the fronts. So just refer to the instructions on that. All right, so let's put this together now. So we need a corner here. So just take that up so you can see. So again, we do it the right way. That. Okay. Put our Velcro facing toward the rear. Okay. All right, guys, here we are again. We've got the rear of our frame. You know it's the rear because it's got the press studs on it. The press studs are facing forward. All right. So here we go. Just like this. Now we're going to put bracing on. This is the correct way for the bracing. Goes like that. Okay. Not like this. Not that way. Does not go that way. It goes forward towards the car with this opening like that. So, neat little trick for installing the bracing. Just pop that side off for a moment, set it up like this, and do it this way because it's just so much faster, okay? So, two M10, bolts, pop them through. That's going to hold your corner piece on. There we go. So, you pop this on, okay, like that. Done. Two washers on the outside of the bracing. Okay, like this. So we're just finger tight everything, guys. We're not going to go use the hex keys just yet because you might have made a mistake. That side's done. All right, put it down. Trick for the next side. Pop that out. Same thing. Just remember you get your orientation, okay? So the orientation trick is Velcro facing back. Okay, that's how you know you're doing it the right way. All right, so bracing goes this way. This opening facing outwards because there's another piece of box shoot that's going to run there. Okay, flip her over. Our two bolts go in like that. Okay, like so. Them in there. Okay. 2 bolts in, that's holding your corner piece on. Okay. Our brace. These braces are used for load rating. So it keeps your frame load rated. So make sure you use them. If you don't use them, it's not load rated. They're not needed to keep the frame rigid. They're just needed for our 770-pound load rating. That's static as well. So when you're moving, it's 220 pounds. All right, so done. Now I'm going to put that piece on. So let's get that piece. Now make sure the holes are lined up. All right. That's wrong. That will go on, but it's not right because this hole is not lined up with anything. So this hole in the cast piece needs to be lined up with the hole in the box tube. And remember, press studs facing forward toward the car. That, ladies and gentlemen, is correct. So this piece on here, lined up. Here we go. The rear frame, press studs facing forward, Velcro on the bottom legs facing back toward me, the bracing, both facing forward, with the inside there and the inside on that way. That's exactly how it should look. From the side view, okay? That's the rear part of the frame done. Now, let's do the front. Okay. Sort of the same deal, or it is the same deal. The only thing you got to watch for now is your leg pieces. As per the instructions, remember the pointy side of the miter cut goes outwards. Like this, not like that, like that. And on the front frame, the Velcro doesn't face you or the back, it faces the outside. Okay, so it's like this. Okay, that's correct. All right, so we'll just do the same technique we did before. We will get our cast corners, making sure that that's facing forward like that. We will get our bracing. Now, the bracing for the fronts is like that piece. There we go. So, if you're doing the left-hand side first, like I am, it's like that. So this is going back toward the rear of the bed. So I'll pop those on, and I'll show you. Let's look. 2 M10 bolts onto brace. Okay. Sometimes they're a little bit brace a bit tight. The bolt hole, just push it through. It's just our manufacturing tolerances are super tight, so we want to make sure everything's perfect and not sloppy. So we attach the nuts. Okay. So this piece is done. So we do our final checks. Velcro facing outwards, miter cut facing downwards, the bracing going backwards toward me. Okay. Now we'll do the second side, the other side. All right. So do the other side now. Same thing. Bolts on. All right. Okay, guys. So we have our 2 leg pieces finished for the fronts. We'll now pop them into the top width piece. Now, when you do this piece, make sure that, again, the holes line up. Okay, so I'll just show you on the camera. So like that, they line up. Okay. All right, now what we have here is we have the front and the back of the frame we need to put the ladder rack bolts in now. So as per the instructions, they're the big, long 150 mil bolts. We pop them in. The reason is, if we pop them in now, we don't do them up, these just don't fall out, okay? So pop the bolts through, but don't put the washers and nuts on just yet. Right, so here's the ladder rack kit. So we just drop them down there like that, guys. Okay, that one in. Them in there. Okay, come around the side. Okay, so pop that in as well. It's done. So you know that's not going to fall out now. You're nice and confident. Done. All right. So here we go. So we've got the, let's move this one over there. Got our front up the top, our rear. And you can see the bracing's facing that way. That's facing each other. That's all correct. We've got our alignment of our cast corner bit all correct. Our bolts are going the right way. Everything's all good. All right, guys. So now we're going to tighten up all 8 of these bolts on the bracing, okay? Don't go too hard because you'll dent the aluminium and you don't need to go that hard. Just tight. Tight will be fine. Just don't over tighten it. All right, guys, so here we are to install the lower brackets and lower braces onto the frame. So this is the lower bracket. It's the piece with the foam underneath it. And this is its brace. So I'll just show you how they work. Like that. It goes on like this. Okay, so the box tube runs that way and the frame leg go like that. So that's how they go on, okay? They don't go on any other way. There's no other way that goes, okay? It must be flat with no gap on there. All right, so I'll show you how to chuck it on. So let's lift our frame up. This leg has to go inside this part of the bracket like that, okay? The holes must align like this, okay? So that's how we'll put it on. And so I will now attach it. So you probably just want to like rest it to make it a little bit easier. Bolts always go from the outside, just like the top. So let's just put the outside on like this. Okay. Okay. So, go. Bolts are through. Now washers go on the very outside. So again, we're gonna put those on like this. And we'll get some close-ups soon so you guys can actually see exactly what I'm doing. But see if I can actually spin it around like this. The ladder rack bolts kind of come out, but just to show you guys so it's easier. So there you've got it like that. It's all running in the right direction. It's all smooth. Throw your 2 bolts on, because then at least this side's done and you don't need to stress when you're doing the other side. You can always pop those ladder rack bolts back in. So that's done. All right. So I will turn it back over. Pop my bolt back in. Okay. So going to do the other side now. So I'm going to spin it round. Just don't get your directions confused. You guys can install it whichever way you want. For me, this is proving the easiest way. So this part of the bracket faces inside the bed. Slot that in there like that. Get our 2 bolts. Bolts go from the outside. Okay. It's 1 through. Okay. Our brace, our lower brace. Match the elongated holes with the other elongated holes on the bracket. Put our 2 washers on. Put our nuts on. Now, I'll show you how this looks. This is the end of step 1 of the instructions. Once you've done the other side, this is how the rear looks. We have 2 braces, 2 brackets facing that way. The direction is toward the front. It matches the direction of the rings here. You've still got that ladder X in. This side is done. And we're now going to do the front. So I'm going to put that there. Grab the front. Now, just in your mind, you just think, right? You're just on the back. The bracket's facing toward the front. So if you're doing the front, the brackets obviously and the braces face toward the back. So it's all sort of holding the center of the load. So again, these are all for the load rating as well. So we will start with our brackets. Okay. That side in like that. 2 bolts go on the outside. And we know from the last step that the front frame has the Velcro on the outside. It's on the outside now. I'm on the right side. So through. Okay. Let it down. Okay. Bracing. So again, it's got to match like that. It does. I'll just show you before I put that on. This is the other side, right? That should have this bracing. If you were to do it that way, which is not right, you kind of get a triangle there. Can you see in there? That's not right. It needs to be completely flush. So that's not right. So the right one, you see, just matches. It's flush. Okay? Get that right, and you'll save yourself some time. Okay. 2 washes. Quick check to our instructions to make sure we've gone and done everything correctly. We have. So the bolts go into the leg of the box tube. They don't go into that part. That's for later. Okay, so we've done that side. Move this over to the other side. I always like to hold it up like this when I'm doing it. I mean, I could blow it now, but then I'm confirming it's going the right way. So slot that in there. It's the right way. Check your other side. If that's done right, really should have no dramas. So we'll put our M10 bolts on the outside as per the other side. Two washes. Now just angle that up so you guys can see what I'm doing. There we go. Okay. Done. This is the front. All done. The direction is correct. We have now completed. Rest those on there. So we've now completed step 1. So we have the front of the frame with its bracing on the top and bottom, all correct. We have the back because they got press studs there. That's how we know it's at the back. With the top frame, the bottom frame, and bracketry all connected. That's step 1 of the instructions done. The next step, step 2. Hi guys, so we're going to do step 2 now. So that's going to be putting the top long rails into the corner molds and then tightening up the top braces onto them. These aren't left-handed or right-handed, but just remember the press studs have to be facing inwards. All right, so put this in the ground because it will be a little bit easier for us to work with it. So these awesome, clever, high-pressure casts have a inner face, which takes the square box tube. I'll just show you on the other side. They go in like that, and they allow it to rest in there. So basically, this rests on top of the brace, slides into the corner piece like that. Okay? So bolts in. Bolts always go from outside to in, like I've been saying. Okay. That's on. Our 2 washers. We want to get that right because it will be nice and easy to maneuver with both of those pieces on. So it's done. Go around to this side. And then put that side on. Remember, press starts facing inwards. Put that in. Bolts from the outside. Okay. 2 washers. Okay. And then just put them on like so. Okay. Now that they're on now, it's going to make it a lot more rigid. So I'll show you what I mean. If I pick this up, they're not going to fall out. So it makes this really easy to do the other side. We're going to pop them down like that. Move the frame backwards. Okay, and then we're going to pick up our other piece and do the same. So here's the other piece, the frame. Now, I think the best thing to do here would be to kind of just like line up the frame like so, rest it on top of your bracings like that. Don't know if you're working a table or ground, but you're kind of just better off doing one side at a time and just get them. So they're slotted in now. So because of the way that the corner casts work, they kind of just sit in there. So chuck our 2 bolts in. Put me from the outside. Once your bolts are in, you're good. So for this side, I might just put the bolts in first, because then I know it's sort of rigid. Okay, bolts are in. Get our nice little stainless steel washers. So the whole kit's stainless steel, guys. Everything's stainless steel. So whether you live by the ocean or whatever, it's not going to rust or corrode. The frame of the truck cap is powder coated as well. I mean, it's aluminium anyway, thick aluminium, so it isn't going to corrode as is, but powder coating just gives it another added level of protection. Cool. So that part of the instructions is finished. So we just want to tighten all of the 8 bolts for the top bracing here. So you want to use your 6mm hex key and a 17mm wrench. All right, guys, now it's time to attach the roof bows. Okay, so these, quick overview of what we're going to do is we're going to measure the points where it needs to be in based on the instructions, place these on here, and then we're going to drill through the end cap and into the box tube, and then put a Tek screw through that. Okay, the instructions tell you to measure, to drill these holes first, and then measure it, and then just use the Phillips head to go straight through with the Tek screw. Basically, not pre-drilling the box tube. It's up to you. You can pre-drill the box tube, or you can not pre-drill the box tube. These screws don't require pre-drilling. So, but today we're going to pre-drill. All right, so we will firstly take our measurements. So first one is to get the center point. So we're at 1560. So center point. There. Okay, and then the next measurement you need is 300mm in to the frame. I measure from the outside of the cast. Okay, so don't measure from the inside of the cast, measure from the outside. Same for the other side. Okay. I'm going to repeat the other side. So we're going to do the measurements on the other side. Just so when you put the crossbow on, you're making sure it's in the right spot. So 300 mil on the outside there. Okay. Now center point. Okay. So lay all your cross braces in the same spot. Centers. So they are a nice snug fit, okay? So you push them in like that, and then it gets you a nice good fit. Okay, so they're all slotted in. Now let's do our drilling. So we'll start from this side. We want to drill. Obviously, you want to make sure you're drilling through the voxel tube as well. So don't get too close to the edge of the end cap because you'll crack it. So it's just the center of the end cap. They are made to fit. Okay. First hole done. Okay, at this point, I'm going to put the tech screws in now. So the other side, so it's all fixed to the other side. Don't do these too tight. You don't want to have any issues with cracking plastic. These are already basically pretty tight, firm. You just want to make it so they don't fall off. So that's why we fix them with these tech screws. All right, good to go. So we'll move around the other side with our tech screws and drill bit, which has floated over here. Whoop. Okay, make sure that we're still aligned with our markings. Make the holes. Okay, hole's done. Same thing as you did before. Make sure you use a low torque setting on your drill. Done. Okay. Okay, guys, the next step is to put our straps on. They look like this. So they've got this 6 of them per canopy. They've got a press stud on one end with a magnet, and then another end that's a magnet. So what they'll do is they'll attach to the side on the press stud, and then the magnets will go around and hold on to each other. They're industrial strength, really strong magnets. So let's go put them on now. At this point in time, we don't recommend driving with the straps, with the covers rolled up and the straps on. All right, guys. So we're up to the last step where we've got to put the long box tube attaches the frame, and then this box tube gets placed on top of the Gladiator, on top of your vehicle, if you've got this kind of installation. So I've flipped the frame upside down with the bottom facing up because it's just a lot easier to deal with the frame when you're on the bench in this way. So this part has two sets of nutserts. You want the sets that are closer together to be facing down because that will ultimately face up when we flip this thing. So you line the two holes up like that, and we'll give you guys a close-up and compress the foam, get the bolt with your washer, and pop that in, and just finger tight for now. These are the 13 mil bolts. Okay, so we'll come around, we'll do this one as well. Okay, just finger tight, like I said. So those line up really nicely. So that's pretty good. So you can see that's forming the base frame. Same thing for the other side. These two facing downwards, these facing this way. Okay. All right, guys, so we've got our frame assembled, and now it's time to put on our anti-rocking brace. This little beauty stops the frame rocking from side to side, okay? So we need to put this on together with our top upper brace, all right? Let's do it. All right, guys, so we've got our anti-rocking brace here, which goes at the top of the frame. So this is our top brace. Just remember, we've got it flipped on its back now just for the installation. So it needs to go to this section here. So this is our ladder rack bolt that we put in earlier for stability. So just pop that out, or just pop it down a little bit just so you can get it on, like so. Okay, so we'll just pop that on like this, and then that goes back up. Okay. Right. So then we want to chuck our washers on these three bolts, but leave this one because that's still got to be assembled later. So we'll throw our washers on to this one. Then we'll just finger tight everything for now. And the reason why I want to finger tight it is because we want to make sure we're tightening everything up evenly. So we put that one there, and then we will put that on also. Okay. Okay. And now you can proceed to tighten these three up with your hex key and your wrench, and you will tighten this one at the end once the truck cap is actually over the frame. But that's how it looks, and that's going to be done for all four sides. And remember, these are not handed, left-hand, right-handed. They're all universal. You can put them on any side, but just make sure all four sides have them. All right, guys, really important tip. These, the bracket, the brace, and the box tube all have to be aligned, okay? So if you come in here and get a close-up, these have to be all aligned. So the box tube, so if you get the bracket on the bottom and push it up like this. So sandwich it in. And with this other piece, you see they're nice and aligned now. Then tighten it. So use one hand to hold, then the other hand to tighten. And so what you're going to get is a nice aligned bracketry, which will really give you a much cleaner fitting truck cap. All right, we chuck a frame on. Set it neatly on top. So we've got our frame on now. We've seated it neatly on top of the Gladiator's top rail. Now it's time to bolt it to the tray rail system. Guys, once you've seated the frame onto the truck, you need to make sure the bracket is level with this rail. It should not be pointing up. So if you watch this bolt, when we put pressure here, we now know that that is now straight. That's what all 4 points should be like. You need to make sure that they're like that. If they're not, just loosen it off, compress it down with your hand and a bit of strength, and then tighten the bolt again. That will ensure a perfect, snug cap fit. Hey guys, so here we are in the bed of the Jeep Gladiator. So what we're going to do is now we're going to install the brackets that go onto the lower part of the frame and then attach inside to the bed of the Gladiator onto the trail rail system, or if you don't have the trail rail system, onto the box tube. So I'm going to show you a neat little trick. We've got the square nuts here, which you can put into there and then do up with a hex key. But I've got a little trick I want to show you. So let's get our parts. Just put them on like this. Okay. That side. Just finger tight. Don't do them up too much. You want to have the slack there. Okay. So see, that's how I've got them. Now, over on the trail rail system, if you've got the trail rail system, there's a little recess here. All you got to do is you got to put the left side in first. Okay. And then you slide it on. Okay. Just like that. Then you drag it to the position, and then you can attach those. And then you do the same thing for the second one, and then the other side. And then you put the 2 bolts in there, and you're good to go. All right, guys, so now we've got the frame on, and we've got our lower brackets attached to the trail rail system of the Jeep. So now we've just got to tighten up all the brackets, these bolts, and these bolts on the other side as well. We're just going to talk about the alignment of the frame from front to back now. Depending on which model you have, you may have a drill template, or your instructions might specify a measurement of gap between the window and the frame. But here in the Jeep Gladiator, using the trail system, you have adjustability in forward and back. So you just want to make sure on the Jeep Gladiator that the frame is flush with the top plastic edge. Not the metal, but the top plastic edge. So here you can see it's perfectly flush. Okay, guys, here we are in the bed of the Jeep Gladiator. So we've got our frame on top. We've adjusted and aligned it so it's perfectly aligned behind the cab window. And it's all set up now, and it's just basically finger tight. So once you're absolutely sure you've aligned the frame correctly from the back window, now go ahead and tighten up all these bracings. There's 4 bolts per bracing, and there's 4 bracings. So there's 16 bolts in total that need to be done up. Let's do it. Okay, guys, now it's time to get the cover and to put it on top of the frame. So you want to take out the 4 ladder rack bolts and then put the frame on top, and those bolts will go back in later. Now that the truck cap is onto the frame, we need to use the internal pull tabs and hook this plastic retainer over the front lip of the Gladiator's bed. And then pull it back up. Now align the frame so it's straight, so that the binding is in a straight line. You do not want the binding of the truck cap to be hanging down here. That's not right. The way it's sitting now is correct. And then engage the Velcro at the bottom. Now do the same for the rear and keep it straight and pull tightly so that the binding is in line with the back of the frame, and engage the Velcro like this. The next thing to do is to attach the ladder rack to the frame. Pre-assemble it and then attach it. It's much easier than doing it all up there. Like so. One fiber washer. Pass it through the hole. Place another fiber washer at the end. The spacer. And the piece of rubber with the flat side facing down, the textured side facing towards the spacer. Now it's time to apply the anti-abrasive disc. This anti-abrasive disc is a high-quality paint protection disc made by 3M. You need to apply it to a very clean vehicle paint surface. It will go right underneath the zipper head here on the car. So we line that up, touch it down carefully, make sure I've got the right spot, and now apply it. Okay guys, we're now going to show you how to use the sides of a WildTop truck cap. It uses zips and it's really easy to use.